Considering the budget, President Obama has been clear about his desire to extend the Bush-era tax cuts on the wealthiest Americans. Yet in 2010, the president conceded the point and cut a deal with the GOP to extend the cuts for 2 more years. A coalition called the Patriotic Millionaires for Fiscal Strength wasn't too happy with that move. They say, go ahead and tax me, I'm rich. Joining me now are 2 members of this group. We have Morris Pearl. He's CEO of BlackRock, and Dennis Meal. He's the chairman of U.S. Corrugated. Gentlemen, good to have you both here today. I appreciate your time. Morris, I want to start with you. The White House said on Sunday that it's going to renew its attempt to increase taxes on the wealthy. We may hear this from the president this afternoon. What does it mean to you when you hear about this, and do you think that it really has a chance to get through Congress?
Well, first of all, I'm not the CEO of BlackRock. But secondly, I do think...
I gave you a promotion.
That's okay. But secondly, I do think that the question is really, is our country judged by sort of how many millionaires and billionaires we produce? Or is the question really, do we have the funds to allow the millions and millions of middle-class Americans to save money and support their families? We have a lot of people who really are struggling in this country. And we have a very small number of people, just 300 and some odd thousand people who are really millionaires. And do we really need to benefit them more at the cost of those hundreds of millions of people who really are struggling in today's economy, make their house payments, their car payments, support their children's education, and save for their retirement?
Yeah, it really has gotten down to the point where this country is living paycheck to paycheck for more people. Dennis, when we talk about the conversation about raising the nation's $14 trillion debt ceiling, does that affect the conversation in the same conjunction about taxing the wealthy, or are they 2 separate entities?
No, the deficit results obviously from a difference between what we collect as a country in taxes and other receipts and what we spend. So if we're after the deficit, we certainly have to look at expenditures. We've got to think about where we need to be more frugal, what things might have outlived their usefulness. But to try to address the nation's fiscal imbalance, which is extremely dangerous and not sustainable, without looking at where we can increase revenues, particularly in light of what Morris said, which is that people like he and I have received a significant reduction in our personal taxes over the last decade, while the vast majority of people continue to struggle, and their net income has been stagnant, particularly when you take account of inflation, for 20, 30, 40 years. So we're on an unsustainable course, and it seems to us that everybody needs to do their share, and we don't understand why 1/10 of 1% or whatever it is of the population is carved out of this, other than the fact that they have the capability to field lobbyists and other advocates and get the benefit of that the average person can't get.
All right, so both of you gentlemen are willing to put your money where your mouth is. So what would it take for you, Morris, to feel like you are sharing the pain financially with the rest of Americans? What do you think is fair for you to be paying?
I think that the tax rates should be up in the 40 to 50% range, or maybe in the 39-point-something% range that they were 10 years ago. You know, there's no reason why they should have been reduced really for the very top earners. There should be more levels for those people who earn higher rates.
And Dennis, do you agree with that?
Sure. The personal income tax rate needs to go up. Just restoration to the Clinton-era tax rates for high earners would have a huge impact over time. And corporate rates, which are notionally high, and for many businesses represent an impediment to being competitive globally, in reality can come down into the low to mid-20s if we eliminate many of the special arrangements that are made that leave many corporate entities paying no taxes at all. So it's a 2-pronged approach that we need to take.
And Morris, I know I said you were CEO of BlackRock, you're a managing director. Yeah. So what is it like to travel in the circle of friends that you have on the professional level, and they know that you're willing to make a sacrifice like this? Do you find interesting conversations of people saying, hey, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Why don't you just put this money away? There's no reason to bring attention to this.
Yeah, sometimes there's a huge variety of people that I know, and I know people on both sides of the issue. Fortunately, I have a lot of friends like Dennis who really believe that the country should be going a different direction than it had been going the last decade or so, and really believe that we have too much inequality in our country today. You know, I'm not completely altruistic. I'm as greedy as the next guy, but what I want is a system where there's more justice and fairness for my family and I to live in.
And Dennis, for you, the same thing? I mean, do you find it difficult to have these political conversations with people of your ilk and financial status?
Well, there's a lot of people in my industry that think I'm nutty as a fruitcake. I will confess to that. But As Morris said, there's diversity of opinion, but what I don't know is too many people who really believe that our fiscal policy is sustainable.
Right.
Never mind the long term, even the short and the intermediate term. So they understand there's a problem.
We'll find out what the president has to say this afternoon. But gentlemen, thanks so much, Morris Pearl and Dennis Meehl. We appreciate your time for coming on today.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.